You win the Heisman, who is the first person you would let hold it?
Myself.
Who's the best college football player of all time? Johnny Manziel or Lamar Jackson?
Neither. Me.
Neither.
Me.
Me?
Me.
Not only did Diego Pavia potentially cost himself millions of dollars with his unbelievably amateur behavior last weekend, it is entirely possible that Doofus Diego talked himself out of the NFL draft. You know that old saying, you only get one chance to make a first impression? That old saying is true. Hell, sometimes you only get one chance to make an impression. Oftentimes, the first impression you give people, that lays the foundation of how they perceive you going forward. And the perception is the only thing that matters. The problem for Diego Pavia, he can't really afford to have a bad reputation. Some dudes can get away with it, at least for a little while. Both Jameis Winston and Cam Newton, they had off-the-field issues coming out of college. Both were perceived as arrogant. Jameis Winston had sexual assault allegations while at Florida State. Cam Newton was accused of buying research papers and claiming they were his own. If I remember correctly, I want to say Cam Newton was also accused of stealing laptops and practicing his accuracy by throwing the laptops out of his dorm room window. But dudes like Cam Newton, Jameis Winston, they could get away with it. They were projected to be and ended up being the number one overall pick in the draft. Going into Heisman weekend, Diego Pavia wasn't even projected to be drafted on the first 2 days. He might be a big star at Vanderbilt. He might be the most well-known Diego in Nueva Mexico. But on a national level, no one gives a shit. Diego Pavia is relatively unknown. There are WNBA players who get recognized in San Diego before Diego. To make matters worse, Diego Pavia is 5'9". Well, Uncle KC, that's just not true. He's listed as 6 feet tall. Yeah, I remember a couple of years ago going into the NBA regular season, the Pelicans listed Zion Williamson at like 275, 285 pounds. Opening night of the season, Zion looked every bit of 320, maybe even 330 pounds. They had to add an extra chair to the Pelicans bench so Zion would have room to sit. Go look at pictures from this past weekend. Look at pictures of Diego Pavia standing next to the other Heisman finalist. You tell me if he's 6 feet tall. He's undersized. He had one good season at Vanderbilt. Going into the weekend, Diego Pavia was projected to be a late-round draft pick. When those are your circumstances, you have got to do everything you can to control the controllable. You have to give NFL teams a reason to take a chance on you. Unfortunately, Diego Pavia has given NFL teams every reason not to. Make sure to like and subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter at KC_BTL84. Let's go and get to the sponsor for today's video, my good friends at Sugar Mountain Trading. My uncle called me up last month. Now, he's a military veteran, served in the Gulf War in the early 90s. As he has gotten older, he's been dealing with various health-related issues. Doctors had him on pain management, had him taking all this medicine just so he could sleep at night, most of which wasn't working. Once the meds wore off, he was tossing and turning all night. Plus, he was building up a tolerance. Last month, my aunt bought him some CBD lotion from Sugar Mountain Trading. She just wanted him to try it out to see if it worked. He applies the CBD lotion every night before he goes to bed. My uncle's getting the best sleep that he's gotten in years. He doesn't even take the pain medication anymore because he doesn't need it. Recently, I gave some of the CBD lotion to my dad. He's been installing and repairing sprinkler systems my entire life, so he's developed pain in his knees. Hates taking pills, so I gave him some of the CBD lotion to try out. His knees are now pain-free, even at 74 years old. All CBD products offered at Sugar Mountain Trading, 100% natural, 100% free of THC. They have increased their discount code for the holidays, so click the link in the description below. Use my promo code BTL35, BTL35. Receive 35% off your first purchase with Sugar Mountain Trading. Headline at Talk Sports. Diego Pavia lost 8 figures despite groveling apology. You know, a mistake that young people often make, they think they can do or say whatever the hell they want, and once they apologize, it just magically makes everything better. When you're a child and you lash out at mommy, maybe she gives you great value cereal instead of spending the extra $1 on Cheerios. Maybe you ask for a pair of Jordans and she bought you LeBrons instead. Whatever the reason, as a child, when you lash out and tell mommy, "I hate you," hour or so later, you feel bad about it, you apologize. Mommy instantly forgives you. Unfortunately, that's just not the way it works in the real world. Over the weekend, after losing the Heisman to Fernando Mendoza, Diego Pavia lashed out at the Heisman committee. "Fuck the Heisman. I love me some me." Later that night, he allowed himself to be filmed intoxicated, acting like a complete doofus. He's hanging out with a beautiful blonde who disappeared on Sunday morning once she realized that Diego Pavia had cost himself millions of dollars. He woke up hungover. He realized he was dealing with a severely bruised caboose because his ass was getting roasted. And Diego Pavia issued a public apology. "Hey guys, it's me, Diego P. I'm sorry about my behavior last night. I was drinking the Boone's Farm and forgot that it doesn't take much booze to get little guys like me drunk. Do you forgive me? Can we be friends?" Here in about 4 or 5 months, we will find out if NFL teams have forgiven Diego Pavia. Going into the weekend, he was listed as the 10th best quarterback in a draft that is incredibly weak at the quarterback position. Now, at that position as 10th best, Diego Pavia would be drafted in the 3rd round. But after his antics, Diego Pavia has slipped into the later rounds and he could potentially go undrafted. We saw this exact same thing happen last year. Throughout college football season, Shedeur Sanders was projected to be a first-round draft pick. Some of these so-called experts like Mel Kiper, who rarely gets anything right. According to Melvin last year, Shedeur Sanders was a top 10 pick and could be drafted first overall. But then, teams started to do their research. They started analyzing Shedeur Sanders. They started interviewing him. He was being described as arrogant. He was being described as immature, full of himself. Like Diego Pavia, Shedeur Sanders thought that he had made it before he actually made it. He thought he hit the lottery because he bought a ticket. Shedeur Sanders, he had a luxury, though, that Diego Pavia does not have. Not only does Shedeur Sanders have the physical attributes to be an NFL quarterback, his father, Daddy Dion, is the best cover corner the league has ever seen. But because of his attitude, because of his perceived arrogance, Shedeur Sanders fell from the top 10 to the 5th round. So where is Diego Pavia going to fall? The good news is he doesn't have very far to fall. At best, he's a 3rd rounder, but now he could share similarities with the LGBT alphabet because Diego Pavia, he could be a UDFA, undrafted free agent. You know, earlier this morning, Pat McAfee gave some free career advice to Diego Pavia. And if Diego Pavia is smart, he will listen. We have a young man on the channel Discord server. He's 19, maybe 20 years old, not much younger than Diego Pavia. For months, he has questioned why I am so critical of Islam. Most Muslims are peaceful. Uncle KC, Islam is the religion of peace. Yeah. For months, me and some of the older dudes on the server have been telling the kid that Islamists are not your friend. Like most young men, and I was the same way at his age, he refused to believe us. Over the weekend, after what happened in Australia, and after what happened over Thanksgiving in Washington, D.C., the kid finally admitted Uncle KC was right. The other dudes in the server, they're all around my age. I told the kid, we don't know more than you because we're smarter. This has nothing to do with intelligence. We know more because we have lived longer. It's called wisdom. Wisdom is completely different than having intelligence. I have older men in my audience who email me all the time. I listen to them because I know they have experienced more than I have. So if Diego Pavia is smart, he will at least consider the advice from Pat McAfee. According to Pat McAfee, Diego Pavia would make a great heel in the WWE. He's already laid the foundation. He's already universally hated. Plus, Diego Pavia was gifted with one of those attitudes. He was gifted with one of those faces that people just want to punch. The kid is talented on the field, but it takes a hell of a lot more than talent to make it at the NFL level. Johnny Manziel was talented. He was a bust. Ryan Leaf was talented. Most people consider Ryan Leaf to be the biggest bust in the history of the league. Diego Pavia is a long shot to make an NFL roster. More than likely, he's on the practice squad his rookie season. At best, he might have a career as a backup. But in the WWE, Diego Pavia could be a star. It's the one league where size does not matter. All the fights are simulated. The combat is orchestrated. So it doesn't matter that Diego Pavia is standing face to knee with Brock Lesnar. They can script him to beat Brock Lesnar's ass, and WWE's audience would actually believe it. Sound off in the comments below. I'll see you guys tomorrow.